Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Anthony and this is Starlight Activation. Okay, so we have a lot to unpack. Something pretty cool happened. Before I forget anything, I do want to say a huge shout out to the comments that I've been getting on the videos. That's amazing. So I want to say thank you guys for that, and for thank you those who are watching the videos because they are getting out there, and for a channel that I just was really dragging my feet about having to do it. I never thought I would have this much content. Every time I turn around, something else like a miracle is happening and I have to share it with you guys. So I'm glad you're here for my video diary. Because a lot of times once I think I've said this before in other videos, that once I put it out there, it kind of goes out of my mind, which I like. So that's the kind of cool part. So it's always out there to help anyone in need when they need it. First thing I wanted to say is, okay, I just got in from a trip and I had to leave my car at the airport. So I had to take an Uber back to get my car. My Uber driver, when we're just maybe have gone 2 blocks, just piped up and said that she was a light worker. And I said, oh my God, I'm a light worker. And so she started telling me this amazing story about she's gone through this regression of past lives and how she joined. This is her mission. She volunteered for this. She signed a soul contract. This is what she wanted to do. And it is so amazing because she's mirroring everything that I feel has happened to me. I know that I'm here on a dual mission. I know I'm a Sirian Starseed. I know I'm a light worker. And just to hear her, talking about that was just amazing. So I gave her my number. And I said, please call me, because the story she was telling me, it wasn't finished because I don't live that far from the airport. And then when I told her my name, she goes, oh my God, her fiance's name is Anthony. And I said, well, then you won't forget me. And she literally just moved here 2 days ago and is doing Uber while she's getting set up. And so it was just like fate, because normally I would have waited like another day and then gone to pick up my car. But all of a sudden I was like, no, I'm going to do it right now. I mean, literally, like, I'm going to do it right now. Pull the app out, click, Uber X, here you go. Uber X, there's some spirituals out there working that way. So I thought it was just one more thing, and I thought, okay, I cannot not put this in this video because it's amazing. So that was such a huge blessing. And of course I always go into thanks for what I'm receiving and the information I'm getting to my guides. So what I have today for this video, it's a long journey in the making. It goes back to the year 2000. Yeah. I had an epiphany about something, and we're going to start talking about it. And I don't want to give it away though, okay? So I want to introduce it properly. And I want to make sure you can follow it because it's confusing. It's confusing to me, and I'm living it. But I want to start with what just happened most recently. And this was on 2 videos ago. And I remembered I was listening to a channeled message, and it was while I was, I believe, on my last trip. And the channeled message came through right at the very, very end. And it was an angel message. And the angel message was, find a piece of jewelry that you can wear for your protection, or find a piece of jewelry to wear for protection. It was something just like that. Very, very simple, very short. And I didn't write it down because I said in the video that we put out about where that was included in that channeled message, that I had already been, for some odd reason, and I am not, well, okay, I'm not going to say I'm not a jewelry person, but I'll have to take that back. I like quality jewelry. Okay, so that tells you something right there. I don't go for that cheap stuff. I already had been looking, and I had done some research on some stones. And I had picked out mainly I think it was a tiger's eye, one of the ones that looks gunmetal, I can't remember the name, and then a third stone, and it looked real, and I thought, okay, I would wear that because the colors blended well together, and I thought that would be okay, I could wear that. And it's like a semi-choker, and I thought, okay, I can deal with that. And but it didn't have the main stone that I wanted, which was labradite. So labradite comes in several colors, and I wanted the blue version of it. I did not want the black. I did not want the grayish one. I wanted something more vibrant. And so I had been looking and looking and looking, and I've actually found a couple of ring makers they make sterling silver rings with different gemstones, and sometimes you can choose your gemstone. It's very hard to find it for men though, without it looking, costumey. And I wanted something kind of chunky, and I already know my ring size, and so I've been going to website to website, but because of the tariffs, yes, ladies and gentlemen, I can get very political very quickly if you want me to, but I'm just going to tell you, because of the tariffs and the stupidity behind the tariffs, we can't access a lot of things just because the pricing is outrageous now. So I've not been able to find anything that's made in the United States that's less than like $250, and I don't want to spend that much money. A lot of stuff comes out of India. A lot of beautiful gem work comes out of India, but then of course there's tariffs on that. So I put it on hold. It's in my cart. I've been looking. Etsy has a lot of stuff, but then there's always everything that has to be shipped in. You're responsible for the tariff. So I've just been holding off on that, but that's what I really, really wanted was a labradite. So that's part of the story. So, and I remember that we talked about it in the video because I said how ironic. I had just started researching jewelry for men, and I was looking at bracelets, necklaces, and rings. And about the only thing you could get for a man in a necklace, you really couldn't get anything that dropped much lower than a choker. And bracelets, yes, I can't always get away with wearing a bracelet at work because they can only be so wide, and the kind that they're doing that's for men usually has 2 or 3 wraparounds. Well, that can get too big for us as far as width-wise because they do, it's part of the thing about your image, image standards. So I didn't know if I was going to be able to get away with that, and I did not even know if I could get away with a choker going through screening at the airport, because you don't have to start taking stuff off, because then that's when you'll lose something. So I kind of was like, I really want this, but I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to find it. But I had been doing the research, and I remembered that, okay, I just went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. All right, now, let's go back 4 days. Now, I'm in my studio here. These are not all my things that I have. I've moved so many times that a lot of stuff is sitting in a house somewhere else that I don't live in, where I can just store some things. And so I went to visit, and I don't know, something was really weird. I was going through some things, and I thought, okay, well, I can clean this out, and blah, blah, blah. And the morning I was getting ready to leave to come back to Texas from the holidays and my visit, I just got this immediate urge to go to the top bureau in this bedroom, and it's where my chest of drawers is. And so I go in there, and there's really not that much in it. It's just some clothes that I keep there for whenever I need to, put something else on. And I open the top drawer, and the only thing in this top drawer is this inlaid box, handmade box. And so, of course, I recognize the box. It's my box that I bought back in 2000 when I took my first independent trip, solo trip, not as a flight attendant. This is before I was a flight attendant, and I had got my gumption up to where I was going to tour Italy, and I was going to do 3 spots. I was going to do Rome, Florence, and Venice, and Pompeii. I threw Pompeii in while I was there, and I did it all by train. I had my connections already made. I didn't take a cell phone with me.
My family went insane crazy because I'm so independent. That's just something I would do, is just to go off and not be bothered. And I didn't even want to even act like I was an American, because Americans internationally are so rude. And they think the world revolves around them. And I've seen this I see it all the time when I travel anyway. But when you're traveling internationally, it really stands out because we are just that obtrusive and bossy and pushy. And there was something about that spoke to my soul that I wanted to tour Italy in particular. Like, the very first thing I did in Rome is I went to the Trevi Fountain, and then I went to the Colosseum. And the Colosseum, for some reason, just really resonated with me. And then that's why I added Pompeii trip in there. And Pompeii was the same thing. I was just immersed in going through the ruins there. It was just amazing how beautiful it was, and you're seeing a fraction of what it would have looked like. And excuse me. So while I was on this trip, my second week I went to Florence, and I stayed down in the pedestrian area. And while I was in Florence, I've always loved, and I did this when I was in Rome, I always go to cathedrals. I love cathedrals. I go to them all the time. I think they're absolutely glorious. And I remember visiting St. Michael's Cathedral, and I remember going to the cathedral that was on top of this hillside that had the zodiac in the flooring, and I had it on my list of things that was a must-see because it's kind of unusual. I think it was carved out of alabaster, and it's inlaid in the floor. And so, yes, there's a point to this. So that was in 2000 when I did my tour. So now we're back, present time, 3 days ago, 4 days ago. I open up the box. There's two things in the box. One is a choker necklace that's with gemstones and sterling silver. Right here. Which has labradorite as its main stone. Now, I looked at this when I saw the box, and I didn't recognize it. And you guys know I don't ever shy away from telling you something that's, not always pleasant. This necklace, I'm trying to date it. It could be as old as 18 years old. And it's been sitting in that box. I know it definitely for a decade. Definitely a decade. Because I put stuff in there and I've never opened it, and it's just been in storage at different places until finally it arrived at the last place where I got things stored at. And it's part of a relationship. You guys know that I've talked a lot about my current husband and ending that karmic cycle. Well, someone did a lot more damage to me before that. Someone literally stole my identity, stole my car, took out, I think it was 18 credit cards in my name. One of them was a car loan for a Mercedes, of all things. And because we shared a residence, it was an uphill battle. It took me 5 full years to clear my credit, and my credit dropped to nothing because of it. I had to, fortunately, I lived in an area where the police investigators understood that I wasn't conning someone. I wasn't trying to get anything replaced, like through insurance. What I was trying to do was get on record of what had happened to me. Basically, it was my identity theft that I was facing, that I was trying to fight. And but part of that is I had 2 separate police reports filed on the person that I had lived with. And that relationship was 8 years. And so when we had, I ended the relationship, yes.
And when we did, we separated our things. And as relationships I'd had in the past, and this was an 8-year relationship, and I've always had relationships that were at least 7 or 8 years. I've never had anything less, other than one where my partner passed away. And it's just been, I've always had amicable breakups. I mean, I wanted to talk to them after that because I thought they were a douche or something like that because they were stupid, because they did something they shouldn't have done. But it always ended on friendly terms. This one did not. I was not prepared for what really could happen. And the steps that the quicksand that I stepped into, I had no idea what was happening because I'd never experienced that before. I'd only had 2 relationships before, and one of them had passed away. So I had no relevance for someone wanting to be evil and do anything like that. But my onslaught started once everything was divided up. He moved out of state. I had no access to him after that. And then he orchestrated a full-on robbery of my home with help, meaning with moving trucks, and took everything out of it. And that's how he was also able to get my car, because he always said he couldn't find the second set of keys. And I only had my set of keys. Well, he lied. He had his set of keys, and he took my car. And it was one of those things where everything was titled in both our names when it came to automobiles and/or. So you guys be careful about that. And then within 2 weeks after the theft, that's when I had to file another report for identity theft because I started getting the first credit card bill in. And I was just completely blindsided. That was much worse than just being robbed because it was coming out of nowhere. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how to deal with it. And that was a full-time job, clearing my name and credit. So when the divine has came through and said, under a channeled message, you've had to rebuild your life several times. I mean, literally, from the ground up several times. And it took me 5 full years of fighting that battle to where I could get to a point where I could buy again a little tiny condo when I was working as a flight attendant, when I first got my job as a flight attendant. And so yes, I understand how hard it is when someone does something like that to you, and I'm not trying to make it seem like it's going to get any better. It's just simply a nightmare, and you just have to hold your head up high and keep your wits about you and do whatever you can to fight to protect, not to protect yourself, really, well, to protect yourself, but also to restore balance. And this is before I was spiritual. So I was doing just all this by whatever my intuition had led me. So as I'm standing here at the dresser, I've got the box open, I've pulled out this piece. I have no memory of this, none. I'm looking at it and I'm like, where did this come from? Why is this in my box? And then as I'm standing there and I was like frozen, I could see the jewels it was made of, and I knew it was there for a reason. And all of a sudden, boom, I hit it. It hit me. I remember the day. I remember the episode. I remember I was with my partner at the time. This is when we were together in the very beginning. So that's how I can date it. And it was a art fair-ish. And I remember he had said that he wanted to get me something because I had bought him a watch, an expensive watch, and he wanted to do something. And so I'm not big on jewelry, but this resonated with me. It felt very comfortable. I love the colors. I didn't know why I was drawn to it, and I would hold the labradorite right here, and I didn't know why. I didn't know what any of these stones were at the time. And then I remember a comment about it was fairly expensive for what he thought it was. I mean, he didn't think it was flashy enough or whatever, I guess. But he bought it. And, well, basically I bought it because I paid our bills with my job. So I guess I really bought the present for myself. And if I like something, if it's quality, I'll pay it. I won't go cheap on it because I know I keep it. So all this flashed into my head at the same time. And I'm like, oh, that's it. And I'm like, okay, Yeah. So that has to be, that was in the first few years of the relationship. So we're talking 18 to 20, maybe, year difference. And it's just been sitting there. It's been in this box. And then I'm holding the box in one hand. I've got the necklace, the choker in the other hand. And I'm looking down at the box and the inlay on the box. I did not bring the box back with me. That's how little space I have here. And the box hit me. I was like, oh my God, I remember this. This, I had to pull it up. I thought it was Archangel Michael's cathedral where I got this, but it was not. I had visited his cathedral. I believe it was the day before, and this was my last day in Florence, and because I was going to catch the train and I was going to Venice. Well, there was this one last cathedral on my list because it has the, it was on a hilltop, which I thought, oh, that's amazing, until you climb all those stairs. That's the one thing I put in my journal. Unfortunately, my journal does not exist to this day. I don't know where it went. I think it was stolen. I think my ex took it, this one we're talking about. I think he took it. It was a great journal. It had stubs and pictures and everything in it and all my notes from things I did while I was on the trip. And one of the first things I wrote was that everything in Italy is upstairs, uphill and upstairs. No matter where you're going, it's always upstairs. It's never downhill. It's never easy. It's never gravity. No, you're always going against stairs. That was one of the fun things I remember from that trip because I had blisters, mega blisters on my feet, and I had to go into a pharmacy, and I would not speak Italian, and I just took my socks off, my shoes and socks off, and they saw what was wrong with my feet, and they provided me with medication, so they were so sweet. But I had this one place to go, and the morning I was there, it was before the chapel was open. We're on the steps, and of course it's lots of stairs, but it's a beautiful grounds. It's a monastery there, and it's beautiful grounds, and there was a group of artists that were painting the countryside, just like you would see, you know, but these were all students, and there was a bunch of them. I was just sitting back just watching them because they were doing a fabulous job. And then one of the monks came out and started talking about these boxes that they build. They mimic the inlay of the building, the colors, especially it's green and ivory and a little bit like of a darker charcoaly color. And so I fell in love with one of the boxes, and so that's what I bought. I bought one of the boxes, one of their boxes. And I'm gonna pronounce it incorrectly, but San Benito al Monte. That's the name of the church. And what's really, really kind of cool and famous about this, it's because the zodiac sign is embedded into the flooring, and it's huge. One thing here, on the day of the summer solstice around June 21st, a ray of sunlight filtering through a window falls precisely on the inlaid marble image of the Cancer crab in the church floor. So that just jumped right out at me. I visited this place and I bought books on every single place I went to. I bought the book. And nowhere did it say anything about how significant the Cancer was in this church. And now here it is, 2025, and I'm learning that while I was there, Cancer was their most significant sign. And I thought, oh my gosh, it's just so many synchronicities. And it took me right back to that moment to where I saw how beautiful it was. And I was able to see the monks. Their workshop is right there. It was such a beautiful religious moment that as I was standing at my dresser, it all hit me at once. This is a story that's been in the making since 2000 when I made my trip. And that trip was really a pilgrimage because of my partner that had died. And my partner, we were together just shy of 4 years. And he was HIV positive, and as well as I am. But I've always been undetectable, and his illness killed him rather quickly. Because it reacts in different people's bodies differently. And even though I was given an expiration date, which kind of messed me up, I didn't ever think I would make it this far because I've outlived my expiration. I've outlived my expiration date. They gave me an expiration date based on how quickly he was falling ill. And then my body just reacted completely differently to it. No rhyme or reason. But he was this golden light, and I'm sure he was a light worker. He had a childlike quality about him. It's one of the things that I found so irresistible, is that when he saw things, he got excited like a little child would. You know, little things like he loved musicals, he loved plays, he loved food. He loved it when one road trip we took in Oklahoma, we visited several, and this is before Indian nations were these amazing casinos that they are now. This is when they were a little hole in the walls. We would go just because of the entertainment. Neither one of us drank. We didn't gamble. And we would go because there would be, a certain singer or somebody there that had a career at one time, and now they were playing the circuit. And it was dinner and his show. He loved stuff like that. And he loved to sing along. Oh my God, I'll never forget, we were watching Pirates of the Penzance at one theater, and he's just singing right away along with it. That's a hard one to sing to. But like the ballet and international foods and travel, he too worked for American, not like I do. It was a subsidiary where they still got flight benefits. So we were always just going off. He showed me so much about life and gave me that zest for learning and exploring and eating different cuisines, watching international films, live performances. I mean, he just really lit that fire in me that I already had a love of the arts, and it just exploded. So when he passed, this was after his passing, I thought about him all the time while I was on this trip. I was thinking, oh, well, I know that he would love this. I know that he would love this. I know he would love being able to talk to the monks. And he would just breathe all this in because he loved cathedrals just as much as I did. So I was kind of on this trip to pay homage to the fact that he taught me so much, and here I'm taking it and I'm going with it as well. I'm being that independent spirit that doesn't hold back. Everyone told me not to do it because something would happen. I had a fabulous time. I just had to act like I was German, which is easy for me because I didn't talk to people. And I kind of looked German because, I'm a strawberry blonde. So a lot of people thought I was German, and I didn't dress like a tourist. I read the books, I packed what I was told to pack, and I blended in. And so I didn't have the problems that, regular tourists had. So for me, it was a very eye-opening experience, and has really helped me in being a flight attendant today. So that whole experience, just kind of like this, everything came together at the perfect moment, and immediately I thought of Archangel Michael. For some reason, I thought of him immediately, and I went back to what that message was, and I swear the message came from him. I remember the reading where it was St. Michael's tarot cards, and this is a message coming through. And the message was, find a piece of jewelry that you can wear for protection. It did not say buy, which is why I never liked anything. Everything I put in my cart was for reference. Nothing fit the bill completely. It wasn't until I made this trip over the holidays, opened up a box that's been sitting there for years. Inside it is a choker that's made out of natural stones. And it all brought it back full circle, and I thought, wow. This is what you call the slowness of divine timing and being on the right path. I was able to take this, which at one time I probably quit wearing this because of the person who bought it. And I was giving them control over me. So, they don't have any control over me. I blocked them, whatever. This is mine. This has the energy that I embody. This is going to be my protection. So someone that was tried to be my downfall is now, I'm rising up to use this as part of my strength and my protection. That's how I'm looking at it. That's how full circle you get to come when you deal with the past traumas of your life. It is not a one-time fix. It is an ongoing process. When this happened, I was really sad because I don't travel with a camera or anything like that. I would have done a video right then and showed you, oh, here's the box. Here's the jewelry that's inside the box. And oh, by the way, there was another choker in there that's sterling silver that was a gift from him as well, but something he was wearing and he couldn't wear it because his neck was too... Okay, I'm going to say this. He had liposuction because he was way into the 3D image. So this is a choker, okay? A choker is loose, okay? On him, I'm just going to use this as an exaggeration, was like this. It's like, it's stuck right there. You know, that was what it would be on him. For him, it would be, you know, skin tight, like a ribbon that, you know, back in the 60s people used to wear, you know, stuff like that. So he was irritated because I didn't have that kind of build, and I wore it because I liked it. His piece, I wore it, and as soon as he saw it on me, he goes, "Well, you might as well keep it. That's how it's supposed to look." Because when he wore it, it looked like a choker. So I have that piece as well, and I had thought about. I found this website that sells labradorite stones with a sterling silver loop. They can hook onto anything, and I thought, oh, I could just put my labradorite stone onto that silver choker that I already have, and it would give me two pieces to wear, you know, and still all would be out like, you know, maybe $20 for the stone itself, and that's about it. So I got all excited about that. I was like, everything has a happy ending in the end, depends on how you look at it. This was something that was negative at one time for me because it stayed in that box. But also, the box itself, I pulled up because it's reflective of the stonework and inlay work in the building itself. It's all spiritual. It's all about the symbolism on the box. And I didn't even take a photo of the box because that would have been amazing. But the box itself is a spiritual vessel, if you want to say it like that. And it's been holding this, cleansing it the whole time, with their little stones inside there, just doing the little work, waiting for me to discover it, waiting for me to find it at the right moment for me to wear it for my protection going forward. So it's just, I say this all the time. I don't say it to anybody but my guides. I say this all the time to them. There's nothing they could do to me that would shock me how things work out, because the intricacies of how difficult it is to get something maneuvered through. That's why when we talked about this on the last video and the video before, chaos is not what you think it is. Chaos is the workings behind the scenes of your guides and the divine to get you where you need to be. Maybe not in your time frame, what you want, because you want it, like all of us, instant. We don't want to have to wait. But just, if I can give you one piece of advice, let go and let God. Let God be the driver. You sit in the passenger seat. You enjoy the ride. And I wanted to throw this in because we've been talking about it a little bit on the videos. So you guys remember the video about when I woke up and I had nothing to worry about? When I woke up and everything was calm, those are still there. And then there's a third one. That where I'm not in control. I don't need to be in control. I'm in a phase now to where I'm allowing the divine to unfold naturally as things should. I am standing in my authority, in my light, speaking my truth, discerning with my sword if I need to. So I can put my sword up when I need it for protection, but I can stand in my light. Sorry about that. I can stand in my light and speak my truth and be on my highest and my best path forward. That's not always easy because a lot of times I get in the way, or I want to push something, or I want the answer to something. I realize the information will come to me when I need it. That is how this piece of jewelry, both of them, came out and exposed themselves to me when I needed them. And I just thought it was ironic that I had been shopping for almost 2 weeks for something because I had it on my mind. It pops up in a reading that I should find something to wear for protection. And then I did find something that I completely forgot about. So it's one of those glorification moments that happens that you just have to sit back and go, wow, that is a beautiful miracle. Thank you, divine. Thank you, angels. Please forgive me when I get hurried and rushed along and I say things I shouldn't say, because I have to throw that in every once in a while. Just because you guys know I've told you I can get, kind of sharp with my guides every once in a while. So anyway, I hope this video finds resonance for you. I hope there's something you can relate to, or a similar type of an experience where something's happened and there's really no explanation for it, so then you know it's divine timing. You know it's the divine's hand in your life guiding you. And so I just hope I'm offering some clarity for you and some peace of mind. And until you're on one of my flights and I see you up in the sky or on the next video update, I'm wishing you guys nothing but light and love, and have a great day. Bye-bye.